Hey, and welcome back. If you saw the title of this video, today we are talking about dating your friends. Now, this might not be exactly what you think it is. So I am not talking about actually forming some sort of romance with your existing friends. What I am talking about is setting the standard for your friends the same way that we set standards for our romantic partner. So one of the things I feel most passionately about when it comes to friendships is how much your friends influence you, to what extent and what degree they will impact your life, no matter what. There's no getting around this. There's no avoiding it. Your friends impact you enormously. But yet, I feel like we don't put all that much emphasis on dating our friends. And what I mean by this is quite literally just like the way we do with romantic relationships, establishing the qualities in a person that we're actually looking for, and then intentionally pursuing and seeking that out until we find it. And not settling in friendships that don't feel right for us the same way that we don't settle in romantic relationships that don't feel right. To some extent, it's perfectly normal for someone to say when they're seeking a husband, a wife, like for example, all the time women will say, I want to date a man who makes a lot of money. Controversial, but true. And whatever, I don't think there's any issue with wanting to date a man who makes a lot of money. I don't think there's any issue with wanting to date a woman who makes a lot of money. And moreover, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying to yourself, I want friends who make a lot of money. I want friends who are financially well off. I want friends who are successful in business. These are things that are so non-controversial when talking about dating. But sometimes I think when you talk about this in the context of friends, people can think that you're writing people off too quickly, or that you're being a little too selective or a little too picky, or maybe it comes off a little snobby or stuck up, like you don't want to be friends with people unless they're rich or something like that. And that's really not what this is about. This is about acknowledging that your friend's character is going to have a lot of influence on you. Not to mention your friend's daily habits, their lifestyle, and how they treat their relationships, because you are now going to be in a relationship with them, in a friendship with them. So that's going to rub off on you. The reality is, if your friends are people who are drinking all the time, going to the bars a lot, spending a lot of time at clubs, spending a lot of time watching TV, spending a lot of time bed rotting, that lifestyle is so ingrained in them, it's going to rub off on you if you spend a lot of time with them. Not to mention, those are the types of things that you're going to be getting invites to. When your friends invite you to hang out, they're going to invite you for a movie night. They're going to invite you to go out to the bars. They're going to invite you for wine night. Nothing wrong with those things. I do every single one of those things with my friends, no problem. I actually love a lot of those activities at a reasonable frequency, I would say. However, if you have friends who care about their health, care about their finances, care about being successful in business, then you might start getting invites to things like, hey, do you want to go to a workout class with me? I'm taking a fitness class at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Do you want to tag along? Hey, I'm cooking dinner at my house tonight. Do you want to come over for a home cooked meal? Hey, I'm working on this new project, a little side gig I'm doing. Do you want to help with it? Personally, myself, I know I have not even necessarily intentionally pursued friends that were entrepreneurs, but I just happened to meet a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, and those are the people who I ended up getting closer with and who are now a lot of my good friends. A lot of my good friends are entrepreneurs, and a lot of the things I get invites to are, hey, I'm working on this thing for my business this week, but it could totally be a group activity if you want to join. No pressure, but it's just something fun. But it's something I have to do. Do you want to come along? I've kind of gradually and casually been invited to be involved in my friends' businesses, and that is something that is so meaningful to me because I myself care about entrepreneurship. I like learning how to start businesses. I like learning about entrepreneurial experiences, and I like creating that community. However, what I would argue is even more important than things like lifestyle and habits. Those are super important, but beyond that, what I think is so important for you to be selective about in your friendships is character. Always character and how somebody treats their relationships. So back to dating our friends. The same way when you are dating, you might say, I want a man who has integrity. I want a man who is honest. I want a man who is intentional. I want a man who is nurturing and takes care of me. These are all qualities that we're looking for in somebody's character when we're dating. However, there's nothing wrong, and in fact, I think there's something very right about looking for those same things in your friends. You should identify, for example, something along the lines of, I want friends who reach out and check in on me and genuinely care about what's going on in my life. I want friends who call me on the phone and they like having long FaceTime chats. I want friends who are curious about me and also have meaningful input on my life. I want friends who open up and share their life with me and allow me to get deeper into their life as time goes on. There's nothing wrong with saying I want friends who are fun, that I can genuinely have a good time with, and that I notice they bring out the most fun version of me. There's nothing wrong with saying I want friends who are funny. That's what I've said all the time. I want friends who are funny. I love to laugh. Personally, I think laughing as much as possible is just what makes life worth living. And I've been saying for a long time, I want friends who are funny. Now, it's not the deciding factor. I'm not telling you to write people off as soon as they don't have the list of 14 character traits that you want. You have to be open-minded to some extent, but at the same time, you should keep your standards high for what you're looking for in a friend. And if you're meeting a lot of people that don't necessarily have those character traits that you're looking for, you should refuse to be discouraged and you should just keep searching. One really good way to pursue this goal, in my opinion, is to put yourself in environments where you believe these people would be. You have to be intentional about thinking, okay, I'm identifying the type of person that I want to pursue in my community and to form friendships with. Where do I think they would be? So back to the topic of dating your friends. So the main thing I want you to take away from this video is actually not that you should be striving to have friends that are business oriented or financially successful or physically fit or anything like that. Those are nice to haves, and I think those are obviously attractive qualities. But I think that those things get talked about a lot when talking about searching for friends or searching for a partner, just general, any community or relationships that you're forming. I think honestly, that's a little over talked about. What I don't think it gets focused on quite as much is searching for people for their character alone. Seeking people out for their character as the primary criteria. People's character will tell you everything you need to know about whether that will be a good and healthy friendship in the long run, because good and healthy friendships take good character. Way more important than seeking someone out based on their lifestyle and their habits is seeking someone out based on their character. Again, we're talking about friends here. There's nothing wrong with saying that you are looking for particular character traits in your friends. You're gonna find that you put yourself in these types of environments, like going to the gym, going to church, going to business or entrepreneurial groups. Whatever a metric it is for success, or whatever appealing environment you're putting yourself in to meet these people that you want to meet, you will find that there will be people who are very successful, are very attractive, very physically fit, very financially well off, and they will not be a good friend to you. They will be stuck up, they will be snobby, they will be self-centered, they will never reach out to check in on you, they will be inconsiderate, they will be self-absorbed, they will not be curious about your life. They will not share. They will not be willing to share about their own life. And my point is actually, you can seek people out who have the lifestyle and the habits that are attractive to you, but if they do not have the character, it's not going to work. Whereas vice versa, if you seek out people who do have the character, but don't necessarily have the lifestyle and the habits that are conducive to what you're looking for, that could actually work. Because character is always going to be so much more important than these worldly metrics for success that a lot of people find attractive in friends. Again, I am pro being specific with the lifestyle and habits that you want to form, that you want to maintain, and that you're searching for in the community that surrounds you. You should be looking for those things. But those things get talked about a lot, and what doesn't really get talked about as much is the character. I would argue that you should be beyond intentional about limiting who you allow into your circle and who you surround yourself with and who you spend a lot of time talking to or hanging out with based solely on their character. You should be assessing, does this person actually care about me? Is this person actually willing to put in the effort that I'm putting in? Does this person actually have my best interest at heart? Are they happy for me when good things happen to me? Are they sad when bad things happen to me? Or is it reversed? Is the person willing to give me honest feedback, even if it's maybe not what I want to hear, but it's what I need to hear? I don't know why society has normalized being so intentional about seeking out these character traits in your romantic partner, but not in your friends. Granted, I will give you, your romantic partner is probably going to have the most influence on you because you're going to be the closest, the most intimate with them, and you're going to spend the most time with them. So there's no getting around that. But your larger community of friends is going to have an unbelievable amount of influence on you. And it will be the type of influence that is not directly quantifiable or measurable. You won't be able to take stock of your life and say, my life is like this because I have these 3 or 4 friends that influenced it in this way. You're not gonna be able to say that. The influence is gonna be happening covertly in the background, gradually and behind the scenes, but at the same time, right in front of your face. They will influence your lifestyle and your habits. They will also, more importantly, influence your character. When you are constantly surrounded by people who are caring, people who are honest, people who operate with integrity, people who set high standards for themselves, you will naturally gravitate towards that way of being, or maybe you're already there and these people help encourage you to keep your standards at that level. The goal here is not letting your standards fall to the people around you, but instead setting your standards and then pursuing people who are already meeting that or above it so you can maintain the lifestyle and the character that you know you want to have. So do not be afraid to date your friends. What I mean by that is go on friend dates. Assess that person's character and whether they have earned a spot in your life. Assess how much of your time you want to give to somebody of that particular character and of that lifestyle as well. So I hope you have better conversations and more meaningful friendships, and I can't wait to talk more about friendships. Bye, I'll see you on the next one.